Hey everyone, I'm Mark, this is Gonzo, and today we're talking about 5 ways that 5th edition is the greatest edition of all time.
It's the greatest.
It definitely is the best.
It is the best. We're going to talk about why.
Absolutely. There'll be no question.
We got to come up with these out of top of our head, though.
Top of our heads, just like this. Gonzo,
Yes,
why
sir.
is 5th edition the greatest edition ever made?
It is the greatest.
Of
And
D&D.
you are animated today,
Yes.
but it is the greatest edition. We're gonna give you 5 reasons why. The first one
Yes.
we want to talk about is that any class that you pick within the player's handbook is flexible. You can customize it. You can take that class and flavor it in a way that you will enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the cool things about it. I think of right away that some of the initial options they gave us was an arcane trickster,
Yeah.
a rogue who uses magic in a way where he's deception all over the place, and all kinds of things that he uses with his mage hand to be. I mean, imagine pickpocketing with a mage hand and that kind of thing.
Right.
And then you have, a grave domain for a cleric or something. So you have your necromancer, but he's a cleric.
Yeah.
So, but they do this within the subclasses, especially. They allow you to be able to do basically whatever you would like to do and stay within a certain class.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like multi-classing within the class.
Without having the
Without
multi-class.
You can still multi-class, but there's penalties often for multi-classing. In fact, one of them is that you won't be able to level up in that each
Right.
one. You could, but with this, you can level up still and still keep those little flavors of it's like little mini multi-classing.
Yeah, and then you add feats to it, and you really can specify on something you'd like to do.
Important to have feat.
So being very flexible with the classes is a benefit of 5th edition for sure for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
What's another one?
Another one is that this game is very story driven, very much so that, and a lot of times I feel like the rules kind of moved out of the way so that the story can go forward. It seemed like in other editions there were so many technicalities that you were so busy worrying about the encumbrance and all these different roles for every little
The
thing.
grittiness of it,
very
could
gritty.
kind of bog down the game a little bit. And though some people like playing that style of game, 5th edition is built a little differently with just advantage and disadvantage.
Right.
It is more story driven. I think the game itself has evolved over the years too. It used to be hack and slash, take, and then spend your money.
Right.
And it's a lot different now. We want a story told. When we play, we want to know, well, where did my father go? I can't find him. Whatever.
Why
it may
are we
be.
in this dungeon?
Yeah.
Why are these monsters in this dungeon?
Yeah, and why
does it
is
make
this-
sense that all these different monsters are in this dungeon?
Right.
We actually want to know those things. Like in the old days, there's just a variety of monsters.
Yeah, it was just
No reason.
go through the monster manual and pick and plop in there and hey, open the door. Oh,
Yeah,
for
sure.
my next guest.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to have a Yeti in one room and a Beholder in the other.
Yeah, they love each other. So
Sure.
story driven is definitely 5th edition style for sure. Speaking of style,
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons I like 5th edition is that the art style has gone back to, I guess, a better flavor of realism, like what we had in the original 1st and 2nd edition D&D when they had these master painters like Keith Parkinson and Larry Elmore and Jeff Easley putting out cover after cover, and it just every picture brought you into the picture. The Dragon magazines, the Dungeon magazines, and you would want to know what's going on in that story. And I think 3rd and 4th edition got a little more cartoony, at least for my taste. And art is definitely subjective, but we're always right. So that's why you want to subscribe to Dungeon Class if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to get the information that's correct.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
can't be argued at any point, like art.
Yeah, art. We know. We're the
So-
experts. All right.
I love the art style. I do.
All right. So another one is that it's easy to homebrew,
sure.
and there's so many resources available, and you've got Reddit, you've got DM's Guild, you've got all these places, but you've got places you can go get free content like YouTube channels.
Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already.
Yeah, make sure you do that. And make sure you tell us down in the comments things that why you think 5th edition is the greatest, because we've got some ideas, but we also want to hear what your ideas are.
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely with homebrew, there's easy to take things from other editions. You can take old modules and drop them in. You could take a comic book idea and drop it in. It's just very easy to do that with 5th edition. It makes it super easy to homebrew and make it yours. So what's another one?
I think the 5th one, and maybe the one that's most important for 5th edition, and one of the reasons why it's grown so much, is that it's the way they designed everything from character creation to combat to spell casting is pretty simple to learn. And being easy to teach other players a game that you enjoy is a benefit as a player, as a dungeon master, because you can bring almost anyone into the game. They're going to enjoy it because the game, they can understand it. Yeah. And that, I think, in itself was one of the best designs for 5th edition, was that they made the rules simple enough for new people to learn it, dive into the game, and then you're creating more players and more dungeon masters, which are, again, expounding the game in a large way. And that's why we see so much growth. Absolutely.
And honestly, I have these conversations with people who like other editions. Honestly, no matter what edition, 5th edition is what brought a lot of people, and a lot of people coming to the game. It floats all of the game up.
Sure.
I mean, honestly, if you, let's say you like 3.5, that's great. But you probably have more content, like say on DM's Guild, and it's still going because of 5th edition bringing popularity, makes it lucrative for companies to make stuff, and so they can continue to make content. But you got to give heads up, you got to give credit to 5th edition for helping to bring a lot of players to this game, and it's good for the business because it keeps Wizards of the Coast flush with cash, what they can spend on making more content.
That's right.
So that's a good thing.
That's right. And like you said before, it's if someone plays 5th edition and you're playing 3rd edition at your table, they may want to know what you're playing and join you at some point. So it's never going to be a bad thing to have more people coming into the game that play a new edition that you're not used to, because you're going to get a chance to show off why you like your edition. So
absolutely, these were 5 ways that 5th edition is the greatest edition. And again, down in the comments, please tell us the reasons why you think it's the greatest edition, or tell us why we're wrong. Whatever you want to do down there. We do like to interact with our people in the comments. We like to hear from you. And we try to answer everyone that we can. And with that,
class dismissed.